Hey guys, Nishquick here. I'm back again with Shane, and you can see his face this time. There he is on the
Up.
top left, and on the top right, I got Pranav. Pranav is,
Namaste.
yeah, he's one of my longtime friends from the middle school gamer days. And then on the bottom right, we got Kyle. You can see his Discord picture, and I
On the
just met
camera
Kyle
because I'm-
recently. So, Pranav and Kyle, you want to introduce yourselves again, and Shane, you can introduce yourself too if you want.
All right. So, if you guys have seen me before from the last podcast, it's nice to see you guys again. Just your typical, PC Master Race gamer over here, and yeah, I love video games.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi, Pranav here. I'm your average ordinary gamer too, but one thing you should know about me is that when I comment on games, I'm typically more critical of them than I am praiseworthy.
Oh god, this guy is so picky. If there's like one thing he doesn't like in a game, he's
Yeah.
like done.
It's
Guilty
done.
as
Yeah.
charged. Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
He's like your typical Asian parent.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kyle, you want to talk a little bit about yourself? Introduce
He
yourself.
likes Destiny.
Yeah.
Wow, you really just gotta shoot me in the foot right from the get-go, my guy. Straight for the jugular. But yeah, hey, I don't have a camera because I'm an ugly bastard, and I'm here because I play God of War, and they needed a fourth to make it look even and nice on the screen.
Yeah. So yeah, without further ado, we're gonna talk about God of War Ragnarok. And to people who are here, disclaimer: massive, massive, massive spoilers. So this is your warning. If you haven't played the game, then get out of here. Or
Play the game.
yeah, play the game. And if honestly, if you haven't played the game and you still want to watch the podcast, then I'm not gonna kick you out. So stick around. So yeah, first of all, guys, we finally got to play God of War Ragnarok. It was, I mean, the first game came out 4 years ago, but most of us played it last year. But it was God of War Ragnarok, the sequel, was announced 2 years ago, and it is finally released now, like almost a month ago. So, basic overall quick review thoughts. What did you guys think?
Wait, who here played the first God of War day one? Anybody here played it day one?
2018? No, I did not play it day one.
So I played it day one, so I've been waiting a
Oh,
long
okay.
time for this one, right? So I'll go ahead and go first. So I'll say right off the bat, and Nishan, you will probably agree with me on this, was that I was kind of skeptical, honestly. Like, I didn't think they were gonna match, 2018. I thought 2018 was kind of like, oh, they did a really good job, but are they really gonna make it better? Is it really gonna be anything special again? And honestly, overall, they, in my opinion, nailed it really hard this time around. And I don't even think it's just a good. I honestly, I think it's just overall just a way better game than 2018 in terms of both story, narrative, the characters, gameplay. And so for me, it's just one of the best PlayStation games I've ever played.
I echo those sentiments. I played 2018. I think either it was late 2020 or early 2021 around then. I never had a PS4, so I never played God of War then. I played after I got a PS5. And I thought it was already a good game by itself. And so I didn't know how they were going to top it. But God of War Ragnarok exceeded pretty much all my expectations, and it's a 10 out of 10 game in my opinion.
That's a surprise coming from Pranav.
Hey, he's hard on the games.
Yeah. Kyle, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Pranav. I've never owned a PlayStation before. I got a PS5 when it restocked at like some random Walmart in Bulverde, like last year, and I basically got like that PS Plus thing for like half off and went through the whole PS4 backlog, including God of War, that God of War reboot, and so having a year between when I last played it and now, I don't know what I was expecting, considering like I didn't really have any expectations from PlayStation devs at all since I had no background with them. So I was just hoping it'd be good. If my philosophy, if it's fun, then it's fine. It's like I kind of abide by the old Reggie motto of if it's not fun, why bother?
Wise words to live by.
Ooh, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
yeah. For me, I played 2018 early last year, 2021, and then I played God of War 3 remastered this summer or like fall, and I enjoyed that too. But with the whole thing with Ragnarok is the marketing was like near non-existent, and they're being very secretive, and I was just like, it's gonna be like the same game with a different story, so like whatever. I wanted it to be more after playing like really good sequels to games like Kingdom Hearts 2, and like Kingdom Hearts 2 is the one that comes to mind. I'm like, that game is better than the first game in every single way. So I was like, God of War Ragnarok has a lot to live up to, and I played it and I beat it in like a week and a half, because like everyone is saying, not only this is the story better, but the game overall is a significant like leap. It's a significant jump in terms of quality, and I am currently like writing the script for my review, so like some of the things that is gonna be in that I will talk about here as well. But let's jump into it. Improvements from 2018. So I want to start with this because first of all, like the axe and the blades, you have them both from the start, and the skill tree is about the same, but the whole like awakening thing, like the frost awaken and the blade spinning thing, that was fun. I don't remember that being in the first game, but I'm just gonna cut straight to the chase. I enjoyed playing as Mr. Atreus. It was great.
Oh yeah.
I thought, because here's the thing, all these Sony games, I don't know if you guys have noticed, almost every single Sony game in recent memory has you play as someone else other than the protagonist. Like Spider-Man has Mary Jane.
Oh god.
Last of Us has Abby, which is pretty controversial, and then Ratchet and Clank has
Rivet.
yeah, Rivet, yeah, her.
She was pretty good.
Yeah,
I like Rivet.
Yeah, Rivet was not bad, but I think Atreus is the best of them all because Atreus feels different from Kratos. He's faster, more agile, more nimble. He's more of a ranged user, but he's like really still very fast. And then on top of that, he has his own skill tree and like his own companions. So that was just a lot of fun. Every time I got to play as Atreus, I was like, yeah, it's not a boring side mission. It's still like you're in the action and it's fun. So what'd you guys think of Atreus and any other like significant combat improvements?
Ooh, okay. So combat overall, in my opinion, has gotten much better, of course, and I think a lot of it also has to do with the enemy variety. I think they increased enemy variety a lot. You know, it's not just the same troll mini boss over and over again. And in fact, like one of the biggest stick out points for me in God of War was the amount of different mini bosses we have. You know, we have, now sure, some of them did get recycled, but we have a lot of different ones. Like we had that like one ball that you had to like destroy pillars around. Then we had,
that was cool.
you know, we had those like with lizards, and there's like 2 of them, and you know, of course they brought some old ones back too, which was kind of fun and nostalgic to fight again. But having just multiple different like mini bosses like added so much variety. And then when it comes to what you talked about, the whole awaken thing, it's such a little thing, but it just adds so much, in my opinion, because it's so nice to combo it. Like just comboing that with your other attacks just add like just a little bit more depth, or just enough depth into the game where it's just like it feels really good.
Yeah, and for me, like when I played God of War Ragnarok, I was very focused on using like elemental damage. So when I was using the blades, I wanted to burn the enemies. When I was using my axe, I wanted to freeze them. So the awakening things like helped out with that a lot. And another thing is the skill tree was cool, where you can like add like
the stuns like, and
the stun, the elemental, and the momentum. So like mastering the skills and adding more to that was cool. So Pranav and Kyle, what did you think? I'll get back to you, Shane.
Yeah, that's fine. I want to hear Pranav's opinions on this.
Okay. For me, while we're on the subject of combat, I felt like it felt different enough from the first game. Like I went into the game thinking they were just gonna rehash the combat from 2018, and I was prepared to. I was okay with that. Like honestly, that's what I was expecting. I was gonna be fine with it. But they went like above and beyond. They did the whole awakening thing. They added new combos. The skill tree, I feel like in this game was really well done. And then there's that infamous third weapon that we got towards the end of the game, the drop near spear, and that actually ended up being my favorite weapon in the game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't know if I told you guys this. I told my other friends this, but like I hate spears in games. Like in Breath of the Wild, I hated the spears, and I would like go out of my way to throw the spears at the enemies just so they either break or that I don't have them anymore. I would throw them and they would be gone. I hate using spears in games, except for the Dropmere Sphere in God of War Ragnarok. That is actually so much fun to use because it's like the bombs in Breath of the Wild. You like throw them and then you detonate them when they're like somewhere else. Yeah.
The spectacle of them is just fantastic. Just impaling the enemies multiple times over and just seeing them explode was just so much fun. It was addicting. You could never get enough of it.
Yeah.
For me, my brain, when I figured out you could like throw the sphere and make it explode, my brain just went up, C4, we got C4 in God of War.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. This is the kind of stuff that I have no idea. Whenever they say this stuff in Discord, I have no idea what they're talking about. So Kyle, what did you think of the combat and gameplay improvements overall from 2018 to Ragnarok?
I did like a lot of the improvements in the Frost Awakening and like the blade fire thing. The blade fire thing actually kind of worked for crowd control. You could just mash the button and it would like knock back enemies and like give you some breathing room and then hit them with an attack. And then the spear itself was cool. The finisher animations were some like super creative things. One of which he just like pins them to the ground, just keeps spawning spears and just sticking them into them one after another until the enemy has like 6 spears in them.
Yeah.
It's just like some of the finishers are overkill, but the Dropmere Spear finishers are extreme overkill.
Yeah.
I mean, God of War has always been overkill.
Yeah, I know.
That's good. And you know, I wanted to add on to this where the Spartan Rage now has different options, which I really like too.
Yeah, it has
that one was
the
awesome.
Valor, and then it's the Rage, and then there's a third one which I didn't use. I only use the Valor to heal, or I just use the one that punches and heals you. But
the
also,
last one was like just quick like assassination or like
execution. It's just like a quick free kill.
Oh, okay. What I love though is I loved that Atreus has his own rage mode and he turns into a wolf, so that's awesome.
Oh my god,
that's amazing.
That was fun because I would turn into the wolf and just button mash R1 and then he would just like gnaw at the enemies, so that was cool. Yeah. So another kind of like improvement, I guess, gameplay wise from 2018, there's like 2 I can think of at the top of my head. One is some of the puzzles were just a little more fun to do because the ones in 2018 just like, first of all, for majority of the game you only had your axe, so you couldn't do much like puzzle stuff, and the puzzle stuff you did was kind of like okay. Like I wasn't too big of a fan of the puzzle stuff. I personally think the best God of War puzzles are in God of War 3. Those puzzles are like literally 3D Zelda puzzles, and it's just great. And like, I'm not even saying like Breath of the Wild puzzles, I'm saying like Ocarina of Time like puzzles. It was just genius. But Ragnarok didn't have that. It had more like environmental puzzles, and those are fun. Like the ones you did in Svartalfheim were cool. Like that whole Svartalfheim chapter was kind of slow, but the puzzles were a lot of fun. And then like when you go deeper into like the place where you find Tyr, you do more of those things. And then like all around like the area like Alfheim, you have the puzzles where you like bounce the axe with those reflector things. That was cool. Yeah. And another nice improvement I really appreciated was in 2018, you only visit 6 of the 9 realms, and in Ragnarok, now you visit all 9 realms, and it's like, I thought it would just be like, oh, all 9 realms will be available, but no, all 9 realms are like mandatory for the story. Because I was like, oh, when am I going to Niflheim? When am I going there? And then you finally go there, and you're like, wow, they made it a point to have all 9 realms in this game. So
and they made them all important too.
Yeah.
Like,
so what were your guys' like favorite realms to explore, and like your favorite realms with like the best world design and level design and like all that?
Ooh, Okay, Pranav, you can go on. Run
Yeah,
this one
I would go
first.
say myself. My absolute favorite I would have to say is Vanaheim, just because of how big
Yeah.
and dense it is. A lot of the big major story beats for the game happen in Vanaheim, and this is where basically Freya and Kratos become friends again, kind of. But outside of that, there was a lot of places to explore outside of the story, the sort of mandatory story stuff, and there was a lot of cool side missions, places to visit in Vanaheim. So I do really like Vanaheim. And I would have to say my second favorite would be Alfheim. So I thought it would be kind of lame revisiting Alfheim at first. It was like, oh, we already been there in the first game, but it's changed since the first game. And the temple was different, and the area you get to explore around the temple is different. And there's an entire area, if you just don't do the side missions, you miss entirely. There's open sand area, and it's so fantastic.
The crater, I think, right? That's what you're talking about, the crater.
Yeah. With those like weird like blue leopard things that you that pull you around.
Giant jellyfish.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Oh yeah, the jellyfish quest. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah. 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 So I do agree. I think my favorite was Vanaheim. Alfheim was cool because it added an entirely new, like 2 new areas to Alfheim. Like, of course, you had that like temple area with the elves, and that was different because of the whole Fimbulwinter thing. Like, that changed a lot of places. Of course, Midgard was one of them. Sorry, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII, so I said Midgard. But like, Alfheim was great because you had that semi-open world area where you can like do like optional fights and side quests, and then there was a second entire area, and that was like the area with Freyr's statue and all that, so that was cool. And then Vanaheim, I agree, it had a lot of the best combat interactions, the best puzzles, the best side quests, the best story, and it was just really nice and well designed, and I liked Freyr's camp and all that, so that was cool. But Kyle, I know you said you agreed with us about Vanaheim, but like, what do you feel about that and like any other place in the world?
I don't know. I just like jungle forest levels. Just like ever since I just thought like a lot of green foliage and stuff allows for like you can do a lot with like overgrown nature looking stuff, and it's a favorite aesthetic of mine is like overgrown stuff.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite jungle levels, and I think maybe Kyle might agree. Another game that did jungle levels really good was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh yeah, with Kashyyyk. Yeah.
Kashyyyk
that was good.
Kashyyyk was one giant line.
Yeah.
But that one giant line was super fun.
Yeah.
Not to mention how it was beautiful on the PlayStation 5 too.
Yeah.
That whole area was just amazing.
Yeah.
But you know what? But I'll say this: that area, I hate those plants. I hate
those plants because I would like
the one thing.
I would dash and then I'll be like, oh.
Especially the exploding ones where the developers know they had like so much fun placing them in specific areas just to like get you.
That was annoying. I do agree, but that's a minor thing. I also I do want to say this. I did like you don't explore much here from like you do in the middle and then you do at the end, but I really liked Asgard, and it's because like Asgard, I mean, everyone knows like Asgard from the Thor movies and the MCU. It's like giant golden castles and all that, and then you like hear Norse mythology and stuff. It's like the home of the gods, so you're expecting like some regal grandeur thing. I described Asgard to like Pranav and Shane as like it looks like Colorado. And it's like a chill, like, not even Colorado, it's just like some chill ranch you go to in the mountains, and it's like some really expensive Airbnb, and you're going there on vacation and relaxing, but the gods are there instead. It's
you know what it looks like?
What?
If you played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, it looks like the little hometown you made, except my hometown in Valhalla was better.
Oh god.
More extravagant than what
I
we
was expecting. Yeah, I was expecting like some castles and stuff, and what I got was like a giant crude wall, and then Flint, Michigan.
Yeah,
And then we got the asshole Heimdall.
Heimdall, yeah. That's what
Guys.
I like that about this game. Like a lot of the things about the gods and their whole mystique, it's like not what you expect at all. Like you don't expect Odin to be like some mob boss from Godfather or something. I personally didn't expect Heimdall to be like some really condescending bully who's like bullying Atreus. I didn't expect I mean, I like how they portrayed Thor. I sort of expected it to go that way, but I didn't expect Asgard to look the way it did, and I really like that they kind of had the guts to do that.
They had their own vision, which is nice.
Yep,
Oh, sorry, Pranav.
No, go ahead. No, I was saying it was really important, I think, with the way they presented it. They play up to your expectation by Asgard by presenting you with this view of this really grand wall as soon as you spawn into to Asgard. And you're like, wow, it's Asgard. It's a big ass wall. Asgard's gonna be big and stuff. And then you make it all the way up the wall, and you see this little tiny village, and you're like, that's Asgard? Like...
Yeah.
It does look like a poor man's version of Whiterun from Skyrim. I expected a random NPC to come around the corner and say, Skyrim is for the Nords.
Yeah. It was cool. I like how that completely subverted all of our expectations, but they pulled it off very well. And then it was interesting seeing it like absolutely destroyed in the end.
That battle scene was awesome. Not a lot of games like
cool.
Battle scenes that game got it.
This is a weird take, but like for a lot of like games, I end up not liking or not enjoying the final level because it's some like dumb gauntlet where like they put like 5 million enemies at you and stuff. But this God of War Ragnarok was fun. I enjoyed it. It had fun combat. It had a lot of like really good dialogue and some really cool story like Easter eggs we can talk about later. But
that final battles are really hard to get because like the big thing I go to is Assassin's Creed Valhalla where like it builds up for like 100 hours this ending, and then I'm not gonna spoil it here, but the ending or final battle was garbage. And then Pranav and Kyle over here can they can agree with me on this. It was just awful. God of War builds it up for so long, but it's actually worth it. It's just the boss fights at the end, just seeing all the characters finally clash was amazing. Really hard to do. It's not easy, and they got it.
Two other examples of the final bosses being very meh are like one recent example is Plague Tale Innocence. The first one I played, like the whole game was amazing, and then the final boss it's just silly. Like if you guys haven't played the game, play it. It's worth your time. It's a very good game. But the final boss is just silly. And then the same thing goes for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Coming from me, who has played all of the 3D Zelda games and majority of the games in the series, that final boss was just kind of like, come on, God. That's easily the worst final boss in the entire 36-year-long Zelda series history, unfortunately. But that's another thing.
Yeah, for games that did the final like big showdown battle, kind of like Ragnarok did, is Doom Eternal DLC 2. The fight of the ginormous Pacific Rim robot punching that big old kaiju in the face in the background was done so well.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's really hard to do final battles, and I'm glad to say Ragnarok got it down.
Because
they got it down to the small. They got it down to the small thing. So in the first game, when you're learning first meet Jormungandr, Mimir tells you that he got there because Thor hit him so hard that it teleported him back in time. And
and you see that.
You see it happen.
It's so cool. Like the whole Jormungandr thing is so cool because like Atreus creates that time paradox. Like that's the Easter egg thing I said we could talk about later, but we'll talk about it now. But like it's so cool that marble had a giant like the soul in the marble was a giant named Jormungandr. And then they put the soul inside the snake, and then I was like, that's gonna become the world serpent. And then when Angrboda's like, oh, the serpent has gotten a lot bigger, I'm like, that's the world serpent. And then it comes back, and Kratos is like, it looks different, and Atreus is like, we can talk about that later. But you kind of like understand that this is the serpent from Ironwood, who goes back in time to the Lake of Nine, because if you hear the dialogue in the first game, they're like, the snake just popped out of nowhere and now it's just sitting in the lake. So yeah.
I think in 2018, the Snake did say that Atreus looks familiar,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really cool, especially in the beginning of the game where Atreus was like, "What is Ironwood?" Like he's just clueless,
Yeah.
and then you find out with him like, "Oh,
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
cool little thing there that just
Yeah. So a lot of these like Easter eggs that they planted in the first game are answered in this one. So, and even sort of like who blew the horn, that whole thing, you can say it's Kratos, and it just like you hear the horn like through the realms and through time, I guess. But I don't know. Yeah. Okay, let's go on to the next thing. So this might take we might talk about this for a while. So like favorite moments in the game. So I'll let you guys talk about that stuff because I have a few as well, but you guys can.
That's hard to think about. Like, okay, for me in this one, like some of my favorite moments is even when the game is just like going. It's just the little talks that happen between Atreus and then Kratos. Just amazing. Like the one where you were in the desert freeing the animals. Whenever they would talk about like, or when Kratos was like, "Oh, I did this because I just wanted to spend time with you," or when they were talking about like their favorite weapons, like, "What do you like, the axe or the the blades?" And he was like, "They're all a tool, but I too like the axe." Like just those. Like the thing is, those little moments just are so well done and just make you feel something. They make you feel like super happy and just they're so well placed, and I love them. Like I don't really enjoy a lot of times just standing there and listening to dialogue. Normally I just get bored and leave, but I enjoy just being on the boat with Mimir, Kratos, and Atreus. They just talking, like it was just the greatest. And it's those little moments that like are so simple but just really made that game the like high bar for me.
I agree there. Another subtle like talking segment that comes to mind is when you're doing the side quest for Freya and you're going back to where she got married to Odin, and she's telling you like how their marriage got arranged in the first place, and it's just like a really like interesting story you get to hear. You wouldn't otherwise get to hear if you didn't do that side quest.
Yeah, that was a really good side quest, and it ended very emotionally. Like, because she's relieved, and then Kratos says something very good. I don't remember exactly what Freya says. She's like, "There's so many other battles to be won," but then Kratos is like, "You won your battle today," and I was like, Kratos.
Yes.
Yeah, and like seeing Freya forgive Kratos in like the mandatory Vanaheim mission, that was also amazing. That's powerful, that performance was so good, and like Kratos is like, "I know you don't want to forget." Like that whole like dialogue exchange was very good because like it's tough. Like Kratos killed her son, but she would have like accepted that fate because she loved her son so much. And it was almost as if she like was more like hurt to see her son die than her dying herself. So her coming to terms with that and her saying like, "I still have that hatred towards you in a different way, but I still respect you." So that was really cool. So yeah.
Just Freya was just so well done in this game.
Freya was so well done in this game. Honestly, like a lot of the characters, a lot of the supporting characters in 2018, I didn't really care for them. Like Brock, Sindri, Freya, I didn't really care about them. But in this game, you care about everyone, especially Brock and Sindri. So what do you guys, I want to lay it on to you guys. What did you think about the most emotional death in the game?
Bro, I got this. Kyle said it the best. What he told me was they killed the realest person in the game.
You want to talk about that some more, Kyle?
They killed the realest motherfucker. Everyone else is talking in this stupid fantasy language and these stupid accents, and then here comes Brock, who talks like he's just out of the modern day and age. It's such a good break from everything else. He's so different tonally. His best moment, the creation of the Dropnir Spear, is still my favorite because it revolves around him. He finally gets a bit more time in the spotlight before, unfortunately, he goes, "I still think it should have been Sindri."
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I was watching some interviews of the God of War director, like Eric Williams, talking about how Cory Barlog was like, "This is the direct," like he was like, "You need to do these things, otherwise it's all you." Basically, it was Atreus needs to leave at the end, Ragnarok needs to happen, and the third thing was Brock needs to die. It was an interesting reason he said Brock needs to die. He was like, Brock is like the family dog, so you feel that attachment to him, and then when he's gone, you're just like broken.
The first person you meet when you leave the woods in the first game. He was the first person you meet, so.
He was the first person you meet, and it was sad because like the whole thing with Sindri, it was like it was set up because he was like, oh, Brock is like, he actually died, and like I was trying to put his souls back together, but it didn't work out. And then I personally thought that there would be like a side quest where you like bring Brock's souls back together and he like becomes like an actual human again, but then like he ended up dying, and it was really sad
because he lost his direction. Now though it's all gone. Now he's completely gone. Which is
at that point, if they really wanted me to hate Odin, they had me right there. I was ready to.
Oh yeah. Because like the whole Tyr thing, I'll say this with Tyr. I was very excited to have Tyr in the game, and when I got him, I was like, this guy is cool, I like his personality, he's not how I expected Tyr to be. But then the more you go out throughout the game, I'm like, dude, Tyr is doing nothing. I hate Tyr. He's so boring, he's so dumb. What is going on? I hate Tyr. Like, he needs to do something. And then the funniest thing is like when there's like that whole fight happening outside Sindri's house, Tyr walks out with a shield and he's like, did I miss something? And I'm like, Tyr, you're so stupid. And then you kind of realize why, because it was Odin the whole time.
Dude, that twist was honestly, that got me. That was one of the best twists ever. It got me too. Like, that was great.
Yeah, and so what's interesting is I've heard that there are like clues throughout the game. Like, he calls Freya Frigg, and then like when you release him from Svartalfheim from the prison, there's like ravens close by. So there's some like hints here and there saying like this is actually Odin, but you don't realize that until like after the reveal has happened. So yeah.
I bet you a second playthrough would really probably
definitely.
You can plus playthrough, you'd see it right away.
You probably see some stuff in that.
Kyle, what were you saying?
There was another hint. Apparently, I saw this. If you have subtitles on with the color per speaker, Tyr's like with like companions and like the main cast, they have like a certain color. Tyr's subtitle color, stuff like that was different. His color was different from everyone else.
Oh, okay.
And then when you, should I just say like what the real Tyr? Once you find him in that prison, his subtitle color then matches everyone else.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Because you do find the real Tyr in the post game, right?
Did you do it?
No, I didn't do it. I just watched some videos, and he's like doing some like weird things. Yeah.
That was insane because I didn't. I was wondering like where the real Tyr is, and I was just exploring just to finish the extra side missions. And then when I came across him, I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I just assumed the real Tyr was actually like killed by Odin. But I'm glad that he actually exists. So that's cool.
Yeah.
He was just in a prison in Asgard the entire time.
He was in Asgard. Okay, interesting.
Oh yeah, the prison served as because. I think they explained it a little bit why he was still alive. For Odin to take the form of someone else, it seems that he needed them alive.
Yeah.
So he basically had a bunch of political opponents in that prison that he was shapeshifted into.
Oh wow,
that's
interesting.
That's why you saw if you went into prison, like at the very bottom floor, you see this weird magic or whatever. That's basically the thing. That he's, like, using.
Yeah, you'd also see one of every race from all the 9 realms.
Yeah.
That's Odin is a very interesting villain because first of all, like I said, like he's not what I expected him to be. Second of all, his dialogue is very cool, and he has like this master plan, and like his end goal is very simple. It's not even explored much. He just wants to know what like the eternal like all-knowing knowledge is. He just wants to have all the knowledge and use that mask to gain the knowledge. But just the way he gets there is very cool, by like seducing Atreus with like the position of being in Asgard and all that, and then just using all his powers to like be in so many places and so many like at the same time, and like getting all this information. It was really cool.
Yeah, Odin, I loved Odin in this game. Odin, in my opinion, was like a great villain. Better than the one in 2018, I'll say. Just because, like, you just felt so much, because like everyone kept mentioning him too, so you're just like, getting like his character from all these other gods who hate him so much, and then when you actually get to play with him as like, or get to see him as Atreus or whatever, he doesn't seem so bad. So you're so conflicted, like, oh, he's not that bad, he's kind of cool, he gave me a little cool sword, and then all the gods were like, man, screw him, bro, he ruined my life. It was awesome.
I like that, because in the beginning I was like, why do we need to fight Odin? And then you kind of realize that everyone around you has been wronged by Odin in some way. So they want the redemption, and Kratos of course wants to help them, but he's like, Odin is like, you live by my rules, and Kratos is like, I'm not serving any more gods anymore.
How do you guys like the voice actor? Some people are conflicted. I like the voice acting.
For
I think
Odin?
it's nice. Yeah, for Odin. Yeah, some people.
Oh, I liked him. Yeah, it was great.
Some people said it was out of place, but I really liked it. I
think
thought
it was
Odin
perfect,
was chill. Yeah.
Yeah.
They wanted Odin to come off as a shifty con artist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
and
wanted to
they
come
did a
more
very good
as
job of that.
Yeah, as a manipulator rather than like a outright evil looking dude.
Yeah, and that was a very good approach, and they pulled it off very well. And I think a lot of the distaste comes from the fact that it was just something that people weren't expecting, and I'm very down for what they did.
Oh yeah, no, because of all the Marvel Thor stuff.
You expected Anthony Hopkins as
With the gold eyes and everything, yeah.
as Odin, yeah.
Oh my
But
God.
also Thor was very well done. Thor was a very good character, because like Thor is not like heroic, he's more like angry and vengeful, and like he's envious, because like, and it's interesting because you expect Thor to have most of his confrontations with Kratos, but most of Thor's moments are with Atreus. And that's where his jealousy builds, because he's like, this guy's getting all the attention and my dad still hates me. Like, what is this kid, and like, where did he come from, and why is he getting all the attention that I deserve? And like, that turns him into an alcoholic parent. It turns him, like, it makes him like distance himself from his daughter and his wife and his sons who like were killed in the other game. So that was very cool. Yeah.
Thor, I'll be honest with you, it threw me off a lot in the beginning, especially coming from Marvel, right? Like, because I always see Thor as this awesome person, and Odin loves him. Odin does not love him in God of War Ragnarok. But, yeah, I think Thor was really well done. Honestly, I thought originally that we were only going to see him in the beginning of the game, and that was really it. He was just kind of just there to be there, but they utilized him really well for character development with Atreus, and then just seeing him just also makes you feel really bad too with what you did to their sons, right? You know what I mean? It like feels really bad. Yeah. And you know what? It's actually good because it makes you feel bad, but it makes you remember that this is exactly what Zeus fucking did, right? And like the other God of War games.
Yeah.
It kind of just makes you think like, wow, we're going through this again, you know? It's kind of like...
That's what the whole first game was, like, fathers being like shitty to their sons, and then sons killing their fathers. So that's kind of why Kratos killed Baldur, because he's like, I don't want you to kill your parent like how I killed my parent.
It's like the whole the recurring line, we must be better.
It was that's exactly. And like, speaking of that, one of my favorite moments in the game is in Helheim, not only because you get to fight I forgot the dog's name, but you get to fight that dog, and it's a giant dog, so that was fun. But
Grom, I think it's Grom.
Grom,
Grom.
But
Grom.
I also liked that was right after Atreus comes back from Asgard, and he like runs away and he leaves. He's like, I want to go back home. And you expect Kratos to be pissed, like how he was upset when he got back from Ironwood, but he's like very happy to see his son again. He's like, I missed you, I'm glad you're safe. And then the whole Helheim thing is good because he's like, they're kind of coming to an understanding. He's like, why do you have the spear? Why do you want to do this? We can still stop Ragnarok. And then Kratos is doing the same. He's like, did you go to Odin? What did you do with Odin? I want you to be safe. And then it all ends with Kratos apologizing to Atreus. He's like, I'm sorry for everything. And he's like, don't be sorry, be better. And I was like, yes. And that even gets better with the very end when Ragnarok is happening. He apologizes again. He's like, I told you to close your heart to things, but I don't want you to do that
yeah.
anymore. So like open your heart to all the Midgardians and everyone's pain so you can help them out and be a better person. So that was cool.
That part of the game was amazing. Just because, like, you know, like, because throughout the game, I'm always like, oh, you know, Kratos is right. He's being mature, and just to see like Kratos, like, it's just amazing. Because whenever Kratos said that part in the game, it just made me think about everything that has happened to Kratos and throughout his past, and how he's trying to make sure that all of that never happens again with, you know,
with Atreus.
And just seeing someone like Kratos that we know for years, you know, grow like that, and just say that no, he's wrong, was just insane. And it both threw me off, but it was also just a great moment in the game.
Yeah.
And also just the way that Kratos talks to his son, or the dialogue, or the written dialogue, was just really good.
You know what's funny is Pranav and you other guys who have played the original God of War trilogy more than I have can talk about this more. But when I played God of War 3, I was like, I didn't like Kratos. I was like, this guy is annoying, and one note, all he does is scream and yell and kill people. And no, not like
2018.
Like that was 2018. But yeah, I'm talking about like the trilogy, like the Greek Kratos. I was like, this, yeah, exactly. I was like, he's so annoying, and like, I didn't understand his like character. But what's cool is in this game, it makes everything that he was in the older games that much better, because he like tells Freya about his brother Deimos, and then he tells her about like what everything, like some of the events that happened in the first game, and like they talk about like the events of God of War 2 with the fates and all that. So it made me appreciate those games more. So Pranav, you played some of them. You want to talk about that?
So I've been playing God of War 3, and it's, as you say, like but by the time it gets to God of War 3, Kratos is just like on like the peak of his vengeance, and he's just bloodthirsty for everybody. Like every god he comes across, you kill in the most brutal way possible. Like,
not even god,
except for the only one I don't think he maimed or killed was Persephone for certain reasons. That's the infamous Persephone minigame.
Oh, no, it's Aphrodite.
It's Aphrodite, my bad.
Oh,
the infamous Aphrodite minigame.
Yeah.
She's still alive? I don't even know.
I think once he like killed Zeus and like the plague fell upon Greece, she probably died and all of that.
But
unless
before you kill
see...
Zeus, she's still alive, because you can play that minigame again whenever you want.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. That's hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the heck?
But yeah, I everything that Ragnarok was made me appreciate the original trilogy that much more, and especially the end, the very end of the game when he sees the mural, and he is at first I saw it as like Kratos is the next tier, he's the next God of War, he is the God of War, but I'm like, no, he's not the God of War, he's like better than that. He is like someone who has brought a world with almost no war anymore. So he's like that much better than being a God of War. So that's what I liked about that mural at the end.
Also, for Ragnarok itself, the Helheim mission with Grom sealed in Ragnarok, because a major I actually know a bit about like the actual mythology. One of the major catalysts that brings about Ragnarok is actually Fenrir, and when he died at the very beginning, I thought, oh well, Ragnarok's not actually going to happen. He's like, Fenrir is supposed to be like the trigger.
Yeah, that's one of Loki's childs. Yeah, one of Loki's sons.
Fenrir was also in the Assassin's Creed Valhalla thing, and you fight Fenrir, and that brings about like that whole DLC they made, but that game sucks. You basically seal in Ragnarok the second you basically create Fenrir the giant dog.
Yeah. When he seals it in the dagger, and then he is that
once
what you mean?
Once he turns Grom to Fenrir, that pretty
okay.
much sealed in. Ragnarok is happening. There's no avoiding it now.
Yeah.
That is the catalyst.
Yeah.
Even though it's.
I want to say like the way the writers have basically made Ragnarok like and put Kratos and Atreus at the very center of it is so well done. Like it's still the same thing, right? It's using correct lore and stuff, but they're able to mix in Kratos and Atreus so well.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that the lore is correct, but they bend it to fit the story in a way
Meaning,
that's
like,
believable.
lore, I guess, is more realistic than the Marvel, MCU.
Yeah. Oh, it's way more realistic than Thor Ragnarok. The movie.
Yeah.
As much as I enjoy that movie, that's not the the whole thing, like the MCU and stuff. It's enjoyable, but like my go-to thing when I think about Norse mythology now is gonna be these two games.
Norse Ragnarok is brought about by Led Zeppelin and this random Asgardian dual wielding M16s.
Yeah. But let's get back to God of War. So so what did you guys like overall think about the ending of the game? Because I will say this, at first, it's not that I didn't like the ending, but I was like, that is not what I thought it would be, because I genuinely thought that till like the very last seconds of the Odin fight, I thought that Kratos is gonna die. I was like, imagine Kratos dying and Atreus like having this emotional goodbye, and then Kratos' saga is over and Atreus' saga begins. But they still did that whole Kratos' saga is over, Atreus' saga begins by not killing Kratos and giving him honestly a better ending with that mural. So I appreciate it now in the long run. So yeah.
You wanna know the two reasons why I knew they weren't going to kill him the entire way through?
Why?
First one is that Sony needs him alive in case they need more games for more revenue. Sony is a bastard, is a greedy bastard.
Yeah.
All right, they need him alive in case they need Santa Monica to pump out another game.
Yeah. I do want an Atreus game though. I want a solo Atreus game. Atreus and Angerboda game.
DLC. We'll probably get a DLC for that.
Yeah, the second reason was, you have to for post game going and exploring the rest of the world and doing all the other activities.
Yeah, and you can't do that with just Atreus. It would be weird.
Yeah. Could you imagine the Valkyrie fight just Atreus?
Oh god.
He's pretty fast. Atreus is pretty fast.
Yeah, I know, but that final
strength-wise, he doesn't
scene.
have the strength of his dad.
Did you play the Valkyrie fight or no?
No, not yet.
That
The
was
optional
hard.
one, no.
It was my ass.
fire.
It was so.
Yeah.
I thought the Berserker King was hard.
Is this Valkyrie fight harder than Sigrun in 2018?
Yes.
Oh god.
I want to say it is.
No,
I've played these games within a year.
Okay.
I've played God of War, first one, years past, played this one. Sigrun was easier.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
It's because this final, what's her name, Roa or something like that?
Kana, I think it was.
Nah. Yeah.
Let's just call her the G Lady. G Lady this has so much health. It's just one heavy axe hit doesn't even do a third of her health bar. One of those little
Oh my god, that's nuts.
No, it's so
a
bad.
Souls game. It's a Souls game.
If you try and combo because comboing weapons and their super abilities takes a bit of time, she will just knock you out of the when you're trying to combo stuff. You just gotta go in the way I did, was just go in with the axe, get the 3 hits, dodge or parry, and then get the 3 hits in. And just keep doing that. You don't have time to swap out and try and get fancy with it.
Dang.
No,
That's
it's
nuts.
built as a Souls like boss.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Of course I like the Souls type.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for the comments to rip me apart. I was able to combo weapons. You're just terrible. And I was like, yeah, I know. I am
good.
I pronounce myself. I am the self-appointed king of the shitters.
I agree. The axe is the way you're supposed to go with. I'm
I know.
They designed it around knowing that you're not gonna combo stuff. Those fights are meant to be kind of the fun spectacle. They're meant to be hard. No, we're gonna challenge you, and you're gonna have to be good at dodging. And
yeah. I also with the game, as much as I love the drop near spear, I just found myself just constantly using the axe in that one combo where you just sprint a little bit and then press the heavy attack and you just keep launching them backwards. I found myself stuck in that rut.
What was the question that we were currently on?
It was favorite moments. We just like went on a tangent about our favorite moments.
Yeah.
We were talking about the ending basically, like what we thought
The
about the
ending,
ending.
the entire
Yeah.
ending segment from the time you get into walk into Tyr's temple to the time
Yeah.
the credits rolled, that was a fantastic.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
one of my
also
favorite
another
moments.
great Kratos and Atreus moment is when they're in the tent together and he tells the
Oh,
story.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Story of the man and the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
old man and the
Mexican
logs.
music.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That was
But-
actually his story. Fun
Yeah,
fact. That was
yeah.
actually his story.
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh, that was was that from like one of the earlier games or something like
God
that?
of War 1, how he got basically enslaved to Ares.
By Ares, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't, as I said, I have only owned a PlayStation for a year. So
Yeah.
I know nothing about the older games. The only series I know anything about in terms of like old Sony stuff is Ratchet and Clank because my cousins had a PS2 with Deadlock on it.
And Shane is
So-
obsessed with it.
Yeah, for the ending of God of War, like, so overall I liked it a lot, and I think like a really cool thing about it was that, like, you know, the whole game is about forgiveness, right? It's like the opposite of God of War 3, where it's like, no, it's all about forgiveness and the gods trying to redeem themselves, and Odin was pretty much one of the only ones who didn't want to redeem themselves and got killed and basically lost
Yeah,
the most, right?
Even
from it.
even Thor was trying his best to turn over
Yeah.
a new leaf and be a better father, but it didn't work
Yeah.
out.
But I mean, I would say it didn't work out for him, but it'll work out better for his family. You know?
Yeah.
Whereas Odin himself lost everything that he cared for, which was, you know, the knowledge and his, you know,
Asgard.
yeah. But the only thing I'll say about the ending is I don't know how I feel about the. Okay, so a lot of the game was about this prophecy thing, which is fine. You know, what drives the characters. But I feel like at the end, it doesn't really do a good job of kind of explaining like how Kratos and Atreus broke it. I mean, yeah, of course they both acknowledge it and they're both like, no, we're gonna try not to do it. And then the event still played out, right? Like they got Suitor, they got the horn, they still Kratos still killed the god, and even Mimir was like, you know, hey, you're like still going the prophecy, you're making it like it's gonna happen, like for real, you know, you're going with it. But then at the very end, it just kind of like, you know, it's like, hey, Kratos is alive. So how did you guys feel about that? Because I
Yeah,
feel
that
like
was interesting, and like, if I am not mistaken, the explanation was like they forged their own path and weren't bound by the prophecy, but I thought it was all right because
so
like the
they
ending.
they said Faye helped with that, like at the end of the game. They're like, oh, or actually no, was the crate? I don't remember when, but it was like, oh, Faye was like went against her own people or something like that,
yeah.
and that was
Prophecy.
to go against prophecy.
Yeah.
But then but then again, like they were still on the prophecy. It's like I didn't like how basically they ended the whole prophecy thing. Like, of course I'm glad. Like I like the ending part, the very end, where it's like, oh, Kratos now gets worshipped, and that was amazing. But I felt like them breaking the prophecy wasn't as clear as it could have been, or I don't know, maybe I missed it. What about you guys?
Yeah, like
No, I-
yeah.
Yeah, they broke it because it was when creating their Ragnarok monster out of Suitor, using the one thing that wasn't of those lands, the Blades of Chaos.
Yeah, but I
It was
feel like
an
it was more than
outlier
that, though.
factor. I don't know. I feel like by creating, like, subverting the actual monster of Ragnarok and making it their own way, I feel like it might have like deviated just slightly, because we do see the scenes painted of like what looked like Kratos dying. It was actually Atreus holding Odin, or it could have been Thor's daughter holding him as he's dying.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, I remember in the game they said, like, you know, the details are not important. You know, it's just the main thing. It's like that's what's predicted, but
Yeah.
the details can be anything.
Yeah.
So, you know,
And-
I just felt like it could have been, you know,
Yeah,
like
and
done
another
better or
theme
something.
of the game is like not to be bound down by prophecy. Like prophecy doesn't dictate your destiny, and like it doesn't dictate your choices. So it was fine. Like, yeah, you kind of like want to know how that prophecy is going to unfold, but in the end, it's kind of like going against the theme of that and having them break free of that and forge their own destiny. It's nice. It's kind of like a. I hope you guys know where I'm going with this. It's change the future kind of thing.
The future.
Yeah.
Is this one of your JRPG anime things?
Yeah. But speaking of all that, I want to talk about one thing in particular, and it's the OST. So I think Pranav, you specifically wanted to mention some stuff about that. So I want to hear your opinion and your guys' opinion, then I'll share mine as well.
So I think I want to start in a more broad sense. I think this year in general we had a lot of good OSTs come out in gaming. Of course, Elden Ring had a really memorable soundtrack because basically every song in that pretty much reflected the level you were on or the boss you were fighting. With God of War Ragnarok, they made the music such an integral part of the experience that the songs literally reflect the personalities of the characters themselves if you really take a deep listen to them. So the two examples I have here is A Sun's Path, which is basically Atreus' theme. It has a very lively it has a very lively feel to it, unlike the main God of War theme, and it also takes the beat of like the melody of the main theme and kind of flips it on its head to make it like the reverse of Kratos kind of thing for him. And then with Giantess of the Ironwood, which is Angerboda's theme, it has this very like pleasant. I don't know how to describe it. You have to take a listen to it for yourself, and I highly recommend everyone listens to the soundtrack. But it does a really good job of like sort of reflecting her character, like the youth behind her, the mystery behind her, but also like there's a bunch of other complex things laced into this. Hard to explain.
You're saying like it has other than just being cool music, it has meaning to the game. It has its themes and reason, which is nice.
Yeah.
And honestly, I agree with you. The music for God of War has been amazing. I mean, I loved it. I mean, of course, the 2018 music was also amazing, so I expected nothing less. But yeah, overall, you are right. This year had a lot of good OSTs, actually. So that's why it's just so difficult.
Metal Hellsinger.
Oh yeah, Metal Hellsinger. Even Stray. Like I know this is random, but Stray actually has a good OST. Like I know this shot is like what, but like Stray actually had some really good OST that played a lot of like it just played really well with certain scenes within the game.
Oh yeah, no, Annapurna usually has decent music with their games, as it's supposed to be more artistic-y and kind of like, I don't know, just kind of artsy-fartsy.
You guys think it's the best OST of the year, though?
I still have yet to talk. Yes, I think, yeah, especially you two on top, Shane and Pranav. I think you guys know where I'm going with this, but I will say this: God of War Ragnarok, the soundtrack is good. It's good. I went back and listened to some of the songs, and they're good. Atreus' theme is very, very good. And if you guys if you guys watch the video of like Bear McCreary talking about how he composed the Atreus' theme and all that, it's very cool. And some of that is very well thought out, and especially how they translate some of the Nordic songs into from English to Icelandic and all that. It was very cool. And here's my thing: a lot of the games that I play don't have a lot of the atmospheric kind of ambient music, because when you're in Svartalfheim, you hear the music in the background, and that was nice. And even in Vanaheim, you hear some atmospheric music in the background. It's good, but I'm used to the games where you're in a location, and that music, you will remember it for the rest of the game. You will remember it. It will be ingrained into your mind. And not only that, and you say about music having its own story and whatnot, right? God of War did this with a few of its songs, and what I love about music, I was talking about this with someone else yesterday, basically leitmotifs. I love that in video game OSTs, when there's a theme and it's reused in other songs to tell a different story. That's used a handful of times in God of War. But here's my thing. Here's what you guys saw coming. the soundtrack that did all of that the most this year is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And it is like I will go back and listen to God of War Ragnarok again. Like I'll listen to the soundtrack again, but like again, like I just, when it comes to like, I'll give this example. Like, you guys haven't played the game, and I won't spoil this, but there is a boss fight in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 that foreshadows future events in the game with the theme of the boss. Like, that was just mind-blowing in itself. Like, the boss fight, like, when you just fight the boss, you're just like, oh, it's someone. Like, it's something. I'm just fighting this thing. But, like, when you go into the game later on and you like think about that boss fight track, you're like, it was trying to like tell me this. Wow, it's genius. And like, not only that game and like other games like that, the area themes just really suck you into the world and the fantasy and the like whole like thing about the game. Because like with Elden Ring and God of War, there are times where I'm like in an area and I'm like, it's silence, and like I like the ambient silence of the rain and like the animals, you can hear them, but like I want like music to immerse me into this experience. Like in Xenoblade, you're like running through like Milik Meadows and the music is like a sweeping symphony, and then like you're in the falls area and the music is like somber and like serene, and like it reminds you of like a song from like the older games, and like I don't know. And another thing is like I could go on for like hours about this, and we'll talk about this more during the Game Awards tomorrow when Xenoblade loses in soundtrack because the voters didn't listen to the soundtrack and understand it, but that's just my opinion. I enjoyed God of War Ragnarok soundtrack. I loved it. I thought it was great, but have the volume on when you guys play Xenoblade 3. I may be overhyping it. You guys may not enjoy it as much as me, but that's just my 2 cents.
Well, I'm gonna continue it after I beat Elden Ring. I'm gonna go right back to Xenoblade 3.
I hope you do. And like another thing, Pranav, is like you played Xenoblade up to the point, like you played a decent bit of the game. Music is very important in that game specifically because of Noah and Mio's roles within Ionios as Offseers. And like
one interesting thing they do in Xenoblade 3, which I think is a nice touch, is they'll have a certain theme for an area in the daytime, and then the nighttime would be the same theme, but it's a more toned down version to reflect that it's nighttime.
You know what's funny is like I've been so used to that in video games, and then when I started playing like PlayStation and other Western games that didn't have that, I'm like, where is it? Where are the day and night themes? And then I realized that they're only in like those like specific games like Pokemon, Zelda, and Xenoblade. I'm like, no, more games need to do the day and night themes. And like with like the flute themes in Xenoblade, it's like actually like integral to the story and themes, why they're using these flutes, why they play it the way they do, why their melodies are composed the way they are. It's genius. And those leitmotifs again are used again and again. The Ouroboros leitmotif, the Kevis Offseer leitmotif, the Agnes Offseer leitmotif, the Mobius leitmotif. It's like used and like hidden in like many songs to like tell its own story. But I'm talking too much about Xenoblade. This is a God of War podcast. My bad. But yeah,
I'm gonna watch out for that when I'm on my playthrough.
But I love it so much more when music in video games has like a hidden meaning, or is like kind of like it has its own meaning to it. And like a lot of JRPGs do that. Like Final Fantasy VII does that a lot with all of its character themes. Xenoblade does that in every single one of its games. It did that in 1 too. I don't know if you like heard a lot of the musical references and Easter eggs in 1, but 1 has my least favorite soundtrack in the series, and that's saying a lot because 1's soundtrack is very good itself. Like Xenoblade 2 soundtrack is one of the greatest soundtracks in all of gaming. So, and like the fact that that wasn't nominated at the Game Awards when it was eligible to speaks like I hate it, and that's why
a lot of critics haven't played it. Like I think a lot of critics played 3 actually, which is good for you. And
I don't think enough critics have played enough of 3. I think they have played enough to have nominated it, but I don't think they have played enough to have voted for it to win, and I don't think it's gonna win. But that's.
I'll play God of War, and we all know that's gonna win.
Yeah, God of War. Also, like I talked about this in another video. Xenoblade should have been nominated for narrative, but I think that God of War, with what is nominated, should win narrative. And even if Xenoblade was nominated, I would have had like a tough choice picking between God of War and Xenoblade for narrative.
God of War, honestly, like if anything, God of War deserves narrative from my standpoint.
It's
just the writing and just the character, not even just the overarching story, just the characters talking is so, like the writing of the characters is so good. I could sit down and listen to Mimir and Kratos talk all day.
You know what sucks is like whenever you get out of the boat or you get out of like the sled, Kratos is like, we'll talk later or something. So like sometimes I would like stand still in front of like Sindri's shop and just wait for Mimir to finish his story and then get off.
Yeah, I've done the same thing.
Oh yeah, just that's what I'm saying. The writing is so good. Like I'm impatient when it comes to like characters talking, because I'm like, okay, you're boring me, I'm gone. But like in God of War, I literally sat down on the boat for 20 minutes just listening to them talk, and it's great. And they always have something interesting to say too. It's never anything boring. So all I know is that hopefully whatever new game they make, they need to bring back Mimir, and just Mimir is awesome, by the way. I did need to bring him back. Just awesome.
So yeah, what do you guys think the future of the God of War series is going to be now?
Egypt, please.
But do you think Atreus is going there? I think Kratos is done. Kratos is done. This is like a good goodbye and finale to Kratos. I think Atreus is taking.
You think you're not gonna play as Kratos anymore? No. I think they'll make a DLC.
Thought the same thing. Like Pranav was like thinking some similar stuff. But like, what were you saying about DLC?
So I know for a fact that if they do a DLC, they'll probably do something with Atreus in it. Probably something to flesh him out more, so people can actually like him a lot more. I mean, of course, he was fleshed out pretty well.
Sequel. To set up for the next game.
Yeah, set up for next one. And I think hopefully what I'm thinking is going to happen is in the third game is that we're going to play as both characters, but Atreus will see a huge like a lot more significance in terms of like play time and stuff like that.
He'll be as jacked as his dad.
Maybe it'll be swapped, I'll say. Like maybe like Kratos will be like the side character as like in the right now. Like, I don't want to say side, but you know how in the current Ragnarok game, like, you play as Kratos way more, right? It'll be like kind of swapped like that. So and then and I'm hoping they go to Egypt. I mean, I think in the first game they went to a room and there was like Japanese gods and Egypt gods. I think then actually they did say that originally 2018 was supposed to take place in Egypt. Yeah, it was Egypt. So I'm hoping Egypt, because I think it's unique. I think it's cool. It's unique. We haven't really had too much about it, and I just want to see Atreus or Kratos kill some fucking Egyptian gods. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I have sort of the opposite thing here. I think hard stop. This is where God of War should end. I think they've done a good job of tying up all the story bits. Kratos got his ending, and I think whatever happens to Atreus is best left to the player's imagination. I don't think we need to see any more fleshing out for him. I feel like it would ruin the purpose of the ending of Ragnarok. So if they do an EJ game, if Naughty Dog does want to do an EJ game, they should start a completely new IP and introduce a completely new set of characters, so they have more creative freedom over what they can do.
Oh, you said Naughty Dog. I was like, wait, wasn't it? Would Naughty Dog?
Naughty Dog needs to not reboot Uncharted. That's what they need to do.
Santa Monica is what I meant. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm tired now. But...
So wow, you're in the camp that they should just make a new IP and stuff.
Yeah, because if you're going in with an existing IP that's already been rebooted once, by the way, you're already working with the constraints of what you can and can't do with the characters. Whereas if you just start a new IP, create new characters, you can do anything you want with that setting.
That's a good point.
So because I agree with Kratos in mind, but I think Atreus has a lot left. I think they built him up for so long for something more. So I feel like Atreus does have something more to tell us. But in terms of Kratos being over, then Kratos' story basically, this is probably the best stopping point for it.
I did realize something. They said that this was the last Norse game, and Atreus is going to find like the other giant marbles. So like, where is Atreus gonna go if he gets his own game? Is it gonna take place after he finds all the giant marbles and like rebuilds, like repopulates Jotunheim, and then he goes to Egypt? Or like, is it gonna take place in... I don't know, like, I want more Atreus, but I don't want them to, like, kind of half-ass it, you know?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I wonder what they're gonna do in terms of like, will they be giving him Kratos' weapons? Maybe Kratos gives him some weapons, like whatever, then he uses it on his journey to help.
Yeah.
They have a lot of possibilities, which is good. You know, I think it's good that they have a lot more possibilities now. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I do hope that they make the game different though. They don't keep it exactly the same. Maybe they can, you know, like what they did for 2018, they can reinvent the combat wheel again and stuff.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if, like, I didn't really think of this, and I heard some other people mention this, but you know when you see Atreus, like at the very end, he's got his like knee up on that rock and you're looking at him from sideways, people think he's like walking into a portal. So maybe he goes somewhere like completely like out of the realm of wherever.
They have such a big library of characters now. What they need to do is that they need to make a PlayStation All-Stars 2
Oh my
and
god!
include both Kratos and Atreus in there.
You know, they make a reference to it in God of War.
Yeah,
Ragnarok.
they do make a reference to
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
him fighting Parappa the Rapper. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. You know what? Maybe that's the next step for Kratos. He's gonna retire in Sony All Stars too. You know, I wouldn't mind actually, Nishan, if they remastered the originals, because I feel like it's really
Yeah,
hard to play 1
yeah.
and 2 for a lot of console players.
Yeah,
like,
and
we
the
don't have 1 and
controls are
2.
weird when you have to
Yeah.
roll with the
Remake.
right stick. Yeah.
1 and 2 remake.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Yeah,
I think,
I would
games
buy
like that
those if unless they don't like if they sell them like $70 all 3 of them together with like significant
yeah.
improvements. I'll get it.
Oh yeah.
That day will happen when they port Bloodborne to PC and put Metroid Prime Trilogy on Switch.
Maybe the next step for them is they're gonna make God of War a Souls-like. That's their new combat
Dear
reinvention.
Lord.
Yeah.
Not again.
Breath of the Gods, maybe a Breath of the Wild style game. What is
So-
it? Breath of Kratos.
Breath of Kratos.
Kratos.
Smells of olive.
Boy.
So I want to end with one question, and I wanted to end with the question like, what do you think the future of the series is going to be? But there's one question I forgot to ask, and this was like one of the more controversial parts of the game, which I did like as I was playing the game and I got to this part. I was like, yeah, I can see why this would be controversial, but I didn't really like understand until I heard it from other people. So, what did you guys think of the Ironwood chapter? Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys hate it? Were you guys bored? Did you guys like it or dislike it? What do you guys think?
I
was
thoroughly
slow.
enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it as a story chapter. I didn't mind there were slow parts. I thought it was an essential part in building Atreus' character. My only issue with it is that most of the substance in that world is only built for this one small section of the story. There's no place you can explore, no place to go back to once you're done with that small segment.
Yeah,
of the
you can't
game.
go back to Jotunheim at all.
No, you
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
Actually,
You can.
You can go back, but there's
There's
nothing to
nothing you can
do.
go back to.
Yeah.
There's nothing to
No,
do.
there is one thing to do. You know the quest, the 9 Realms in Bloom?
Yeah. Yeah,
There
you get the
is
flower.
one
yeah.
flower there. You
Oh,
like
okay.
go. It's in like the back of Angerboda's
Yeah,
camp.
I did that, but mainly it's built
Oh
for
yeah,
that
yeah.
section.
That's where Kratos meets her, and he's like, huh, "I like you" or something, and and Kratos chuckles for the first time. Yeah, but yeah,
No, but
Shane. Yeah.
Yeah.
My point is, during that entire story section, they introduced the entire mechanic of riding the little bison dude
Yeah.
around and like
The yak.
going to other places. The yak. But once you're done with that section, you can't get back on the yak and go
Yeah.
back to those areas.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But well, first, well, what did you guys think? Shane and Kyle, what did you think of the Ironwood chapter?
I
felt
guess
it was
Kyle,
a little long in the nose. It's like you're doing nothing for. It was like the longest nothing part of the game. I get it for like story reasons, but like also because you finally get to Jotunheim, you hear Mimir talking about how beautiful like Jotunheim is and how nice it looks. I thought they'd actually do more with Jotunheim rather than just a single hallway section of the game that should have ended. Like they should have cut out the part where you're just like down in that crater searching for stuff. And
That
just
part
like
was a little
gone
annoying. Yeah.
and just gone straight for the boss fight with giant
Yeah.
giant
So-
lady.
Yeah, that
Wait,
was a great boss fight though. I love
Oh, yeah.
that. Yeah.
So For me, I agree with people that they probably did make it a little bit too long. But my thing is like I still liked it, and I think the section should be in the game. Like I think it was a good idea. My thing with it is like when you're riding the animal or that yak or whatever, they could have made that part a little bit smaller, maybe. Well, I think that's probably why a lot of people didn't like it, because you do like 3 different like rides, right? Basically, I think maybe they could have cut the fruit. I think the third one could have been cut. But I will say this, the way they ended that section was awesome, because the emotion and the sadness that came from, or what is it, like the character development of, I can't even pronounce her name. How do you say it? Like what she went through with her grandma and Atreus seeing it and you seeing it made me really like her actually.
Yeah,
during that part of the game.
That was cool.
So I will say this, like, I did think it was slow, but I think they nailed it at the end. That ending part, the boss fight and the emotion made me like her, and I like that part of the game. So I will say that although it was slow, and it wasn't like, you know, the most perfect and bombastic thing of the game, I still liked it, and I wouldn't give up any part of it.
I liked it because what I like about God of War 2018 and Ragnarok versus God of War 3 and the others is I was telling our friend Shark about this. You guys know Shark. There's pacing in these games. Like, it's not just like high octane boss fight, kill. It's not like that the entire way through, and like it works in the trilogy. It works for what they have done, but in this game, I like that there's pacing, there's the quiet moments, there's the high octane moments, there's the sad moments, and there's the quiet moments, like the whole Ironwood thing. And like it sets up a lot with like the prophecy, the fact that the giants are in the marbles and Atreus needs to find them or wants to find them, and it sets up the world serpent growing into its size, and I just liked it. It gave you a lot of Atreus character development as well. You get to see a lot of his personality and stuff. Yeah.
Which was really important, because actually one thing what I really liked is that Atreus has just basically been with his dad. So this was kind of like the first time that he gets to socialize with someone kind of like his age. So you kind of see that awkwardness and developing actually. And I actually really liked that actually. And I think that's why, even though people don't like it because it's slow, I think it was such an important chapter for Atreus, because we get to see the consequences of him being the son of a god, and also kind of what he's been through and him developing, of course. So I mean, overall, that chapter I liked it. You know, I thought it was fine. I mean, okay, it could have been faster, but I liked it though either way.
Yeah. Overall, I agree. So, any final things you guys want to talk about God of War Ragnarok before we close out?
So here, I'll just say my final thoughts, right? So overall, of course, I love the game. My main thing that I want to get or say for this game is that a lot of games that I play that are rebooted or are like way far down the line for sequels always end up sometimes butchering the originals. God of War Ragnarok doesn't do that. Not only does it make 2018 much better, and itself is really good, but it makes the original God of War like trilogy or just all the games even more amazing. It makes me even want to play them again, and just makes me like it feels like it appreciates where it came from, and it does everything justice. And not a lot of games do this well. Halo has screwed up on this. Wolfenstein. Even like there's so many games I could talk about, but they nailed it, and I really appreciate them. Really like taking their time and really like giving like credit to the original trilogy. Unlike Star Wars, which screwed up everything.
I think God of War 2018, God of War Ragnarok are gonna be these two games we look upon maybe 15-20 years from now, and we're gonna remember them as some of the best games of their time, and we're gonna want to keep playing them.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Sony gives us more of these games, not the reboots.
Yeah,
please Sony, please listen to us.
Last of Us Part 1.
No, Last of Us Part 2 remake, no.
No, our Shane's worst nightmare after playing that game. But I will say this, you guys know me after my like giant rant about Xenoblade and talking your guys' ears off about Zelda and Xenoblade and RPG games. You guys know I don't play many like Western developed games. Like I played like the Batman games, I played Spider-Man, I played Horizon. I'm trying to think of some others, like just a very few handful of games. Uncharted. Most of them are like the popular Sony games, but like God of War is now like up there with like my favorite franchises as like a really like it's like a video game series that I'll like think about and like share with people and talk about, and like that's not the case with like many non like RPG and like Japanese developed games, just from my taste. So that's really cool. So I think like here's how I always talk about God of War, or like what I think about God of War. Like, you know how like Mario is Nintendo's mascot? Like Mario is the mascot of Nintendo, but I still firmly believe that Nintendo's like crowning achievement and Nintendo's like golden IP is Zelda, because it reviews the best, it is just the most critically acclaimed, and I personally think it has just the best games of Nintendo's library. I think that's the same with God of War and Sony. Like God of War has consistently reviewed well, it's highly critically acclaimed, the fans like it, the critics like it, it's just like a good golden solid franchise, and that's how I view it now. It's like a top tier action adventure game. So yeah, I'm glad I have gotten to that level. All right, I think that's basically it for our God of War Ragnarok spoiler cast. Thank you, Shane, Pranav, and Kyle for joining. You guys want to like share anything you guys are working on, or plug any social media or any of that, or?
And if you don't plug it, I will.
Okay, I know. So all of us here, including other people from we personally know from our Discord, are going to start up a new podcast called the Pre-Game Lobby. So we're still deciding the kinks of it, but hopefully we'll be doing one of the Game Awards, or after show of the Game Awards. So please
reviewing
stay tuned for that.
It's mainly just like whether we're just going to do just audio and face cams, or if we're going to splice in like video from the Game Awards, but that will require someone knowing how to work something like Sony Vegas. Getting Sony Vegas isn't the hard part. I know places. We all do. Not
Sony
mention
Vegas
them.
is not what you would use for something like
Is it
that.
not Sony Vegas?
No,
You can use Caden Live. Caden Live's free.
no, you can use OBS, which is what I'm using right
OBS.
now to like record all of this.
Either way, we're starting it. Nishan's gonna be joining us. If you love his content, I think you guys will love ours, and then you guys should check it out. But either way, thank you guys for listening to me and my stuff, and thank you, Nishan, for letting us on here.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. What about you guys, Pranav and Kyle? You guys want to mention anything?
Yeah, pre-game lobby. It won't be anywhere near as structured. The name of it, it's inspired by the mythos around Modern Warfare 2 pre-game lobbies. If you've ever seen the video clip of the Riot Shield argument, that's some of the stuff you should expect.
It's gonna be like the Spawncast after show with on RGT85's channel.
I'm actually having multiple RGTs.
Oh yeah, no, we're going to have to censor some stuff. Although if we have to censor stuff, it's going to be a bleep every 3 seconds.
Yeah, what we're trying to tell you guys is basically going to be our Discord server for y'all to see on the internet. So
let's see a bunch of degenerates yell at each other for 3 hours straight.
And Nishan already is just like, bro, I don't want to.
Horrified, dude. Nishan, are you okay?
You're a part of it. You can't run away.
You're part of it. You can't run away.
I can choose which episodes to be a part of.
Yes.
That's I'll say that. Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll have one of just JRPGs. I know Mirage and
That's
Tasha
not
wouldn't do
gonna.
that.
I'm gonna need to have like
happen.
a alarm button that's just like the second you and Ronil bring up Elden Ring, I just need a loud buzzer to sound so you don't start on another 2-hour tangent.
Oh god.
But yeah, Pranav, you want to plug anything you're working on or doing or want to share?
I'm not personally working on anything right now, but
Go play God of War.
Go play God of War. If you haven't played God of War, what are you doing with your life? Go play God of War Ragnarok.
You just need a PlayStation 5. Are they even available anymore?
Yeah, they're pretty readily available. Yeah,
it is PS4.
I log into PlayStation Direct every now and then, and I see the add to cart button.
Yeah.
So they're getting there, but
Yeah.
it's it's not. You can't just go out and buy whatever you want.
Yeah,
Also-
because Microsoft bought all the semiconductors.
Also,
That-
Pranav, what are you doing and not playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and listening to the beautiful soundtrack of Ionios?
I'll play it.
He's playing Warzone 2. He's
Listen,
crashing
oh,
the desktop
God.
at 3
Listen,
times in an hour.
I'll tell you something. Once I finally become Elden Lord, Xenoblade 3 is next priority.
You're not gonna become Elden Lord until like next year. I can feel
Neither
it.
are you. Neither are you. We're in the same boat together.
I'm not like Elden Ring. Like I'll beat it next year or something. Like I'm not like putting my backlog on hold because of Elden Ring. I've spent like 100 hours in that game, so I'm playing other games.
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you for joining. Thank you for participating, and thank you for watching. If you guys are watching from home, this is Nishquick signing off, and everyone else signing off. Have a good one. Later.